Welcome back to my channel. This is part 3 of Natural Vegetation and Wildlife from Geography class 9th NCRT. So in the first part we briefly talked about natural vegetation and types of vegetation in the second part. In the third part we would be talking about wildlife and then quickly jump into the question answers in the end of the textbook. So as you can see, there's not much in the wildlife section as such. Just certain important things that I felt you could remember is India is the only country to have both tigers and lions. The natural habitat of lion is Gir forests in Gujarat. This is a very important point. Then tigers are found in Madhya Pradesh, Himalayan region, Sundarban of West Bengal. Then in okay, sorry, there's a writing mistake in Assam. It's actually elephant, which is a majestic mammal found in Assam, Karnataka and Kerala. Then you have the one-horned rhinoceros, which you find in Assam and West Bengal, wild ass in Rann of Kutch, and obviously camels in Thar desert. These are pretty basic things. You don't have to remember too much over here. Coming to the second portion, which is the more important portion, how does India protect its flora and fauna, considering that everybody wants wood, everybody wants better cotton, everybody wants all the fruits, everybody wants animal skin. So if that is the case, then all the animals would be dead, all the trees would be cut. So how is Indian government protecting it? Obviously through its policies. The first that we are discussing about is biosphere reserves. So what are biosphere reserves? Basically they are kind of protected areas where animals, plants are safe and others are not allowed over there, especially any kind of activity that might be of any damage to them is not allowed. And because a particular place is a biosphere reserve, they may get extra funds. So yes, it is a protected network basically. There are around 14 biosphere reserves. If you want, you can definitely learn them. It is there in, I think, page 51 if I'm not wrong, in your NCRT book, depending on if you're following the old or the new NCRT. But what I would say is important is just remembering the biosphere reserves, which are part of the network of biosphere reserves. So this world network of biosphere reserves is an international thing, and lot of biosphere reserves in India are included in that. With time, I'm sure more number of biosphere reserves than 4 has been included in the list, around 10 I think, I'm not sure, but in the book that is prescribed for you, I think 4 are mentioned. So just remember these names: Sundarban Biosphere Reserve, Nanda Devi Biosphere Reserve, Gulf of Mannar Biosphere Reserve, and Nilgiris. So these 4 you please remember because they are part of network of biosphere reserves. As I said, there are others also, but in your book as these 4 are mentioned, kindly memorize them. The second kind of protection is through financial and technical assistance. As I told you, if something is a biosphere reserve or a national park or a botanical garden, they get financial assistance to protect them and to keep nurturing the plant and the animals, and to ensure that their generation is going forward and it is not in the endangered category, and if so, protection is given adequately. The third type of protection is through several projects like Project Tiger, Project Rhino, Project Great Indian Bustard. So if any particular animal is endangered and the condition is extremely vulnerable and there are very less number of that animal in the forest or places where it is found, then there are sometimes projects taken where there is a timeline, say 3 years or 5 years, towards helping the existing ones survive and giving them a protected environment basically. Then again, there are 89 national parks, 49 wildlife sanctuaries, and then zoological gardens. You don't need to go to the numbers, just remember the types of protection. For instance, biosphere reserve, projects, national park, wildlife sanctuaries, zoological gardens, botanical gardens, financial and technical assistance, just the broader ones. Also, the Wildlife Protection Act of 1972 is of extreme importance. Now, coming to a small concept that was there about migratory birds. So, remember, when you're talking about migratory birds, it's about those birds who come to the country, especially to the wetlands where there is water, and settle there for temporarily, say for the winter season. So it is basically the birds from the northern part or the central part of the world. When it is too cold for them to bear the weather over there, they come to this part of the world to enjoy the better climate and survive. This is a survival technique, and for Indians it becomes source of tourism because people want to visit and see those birds. In Odisha, one popular space for that is Chilika. Then there is Ran of Kutch. The birds may be Siberian crane, flamingo. These are just examples. There may be many more. Then there is a note on medicinal plants. I think in page 48, if you can see, of your book, where it talks about the merits of babool, neem, tulsi plant, kachnar, arjun, jamun, sarpagandha. So it is really advisable, just briefly you should know what kind of merits they have generally as a sense of common sense. Okay, now quickly let's go to the question answers. So let's see, first question, choose the right answer from the four alternatives. To which one of the following types of vegetation does rubber belong to? As we know, rubber requires a lot of rainfall, so it cannot be tundra, tidal or Himalayan because these places do not have rainfall. Tropical evergreen has lot of rainfall, so answer should be rubber. Second is cinchona trees are found in areas of rainfall more than, as we discussed, cinchona trees are basically found in areas of tropical evergreen forest, so it has to be above 100 centimeter. Option number A. Point number 3 is, in which of the following state is Simlipal Bioreserve located? It is located in Odisha. Which one of the following bioreserves of India is not included in the World Network of Bioreserve? As we saw, Gulf of Mannar, Nanda Devi and Nilgiri is included, so answer would be Manas. Okay. Define the following questions briefly. Define an ecosystem. Just revise and go back to the video number 1 of this series, and you would find what an ecosystem is and how an ecosystem is different from a biome. Try to write that point, you may get extra mark for it. So ecosystem is basically the broader category where different type of flora, fauna stay, and biome is very specific to lot of the temperature, land and soil and all those things. So for instance, one example I can give is, we have a terrestrial ecosystem, which means on land, but then there may be many biomes within that ecosystem. It may be the tundra biome, or it can be the desert biome, it can be the Sundarban biome, it can be anything. So ecosystem is the broader category. What factors are responsible for the distribution of plants and animals in India? We discussed it elaborately in video number 1, where we saw how different factors basically play a role, be it weather conditions or climate conditions, soil, land, the ecosystem. So sunlight, we have detailed answer of it. You should see video number 1 for it. What is Biosphere Reserve? Give 2 examples. We discussed biosphere or bioreserve is nothing but a protected area to protect the flora and fauna, basically the fauna. 2 examples as we saw could be Nanda Devi and Nilgiri. Name 2 animals having habitat in tropical and montane type of vegetation. Montane is mountainous, so try to think of animals which would be present in mountainous region. Say Kashmiri stag could be over there. Then also you can find reindeer or red panda. Suit yourself which one you feel is more appropriate for you. For tropical, elephant, monkey, anything. Distinguish between flora and fauna. As I told you, flora is about plants, fauna is about animals. Tropical evergreen and deciduous forest. Again we discussed in tropical evergreen, the leaves would not there will be no shedding of leaves which will be so prominent that a season could be marked, but that would be done in deciduous forest. Go ahead and describe how in tropical evergreen cinchona, rubber are very important components, or how in deciduous forest is mostly found in India. The majority of the forest is this category. Tropical evergreen 200 centimeters and above rainfall, deciduous forest 200 centimeters below but above I think 70 centimeters. Name different types of vegetation found in India and describe the vegetation of high altitudes. Vegetation of high altitudes is the montane vegetation we did, but if the option comes tundra or alpine, you can write down. High altitude means high height, of course. Other type of vegetation we discussed, the 5 type, evergreen, deciduous, the desert type or the thorny and thrust shrub type, and Sundarban and montane. Yeah, the 5 types. Then quite a few species of plants and animals are endangered in India. Why? Because they are very resourceful. For instance, plants do have medicinal qualities, so people do want to use them, or they may have furniture value. For instance, teak and sal, where the wood is very costly and desirable. And for animals, their feather, their fur, their meat is very popular. Sometimes their teeth, as in case of elephants, so that is why they are endangered, because people want various parts of their body, and they are endangered because they are constantly hunted and killed, and a protected environment is not given to them, so their life is more risky. Hence, Indian government has certain plans. Then why has India a rich heritage of flora and fauna? Because India is a very geographically conducive provides a very geographically conducive environment for both flora and fauna, and different types of flora and fauna, because of continuous rainfall by the monsoon, because of the land, the location, and variations in altitude, sunlight that every land might get. So it is a very rich heritage. It has a very rich heritage of flora and fauna. However, if you do not protect it, it might become vulnerable, then endangered, and then extinct. So the protection measures are very, very important. All the best for your exams.